All right, at this point, we've all heard of those AI image generators. These images I created completely for free, while others are paying hundreds of dollars in these AI tools. This one I'm gonna show you about is completely for free. Okay, this is awkward. Zoom in. Okay, so let's start with the basics. We're gonna be using a program called Stable Diffusion. So if you've heard of Midjourney or DALL-E or any of the other image generators, Stable Diffusion or Automatic 1111, the version we're installing on our computer, is basically the same thing. However, instead of computing off in a cloud, Stable Diffusion uses your computer, your processor, in order to create these images. And what I love about it is it's completely for free. You're not having to pay for servers or other software to do the hard work for you. It's all being done on your machine. There's 4 reasons why I think using Stable Diffusion on your own machine is better than using another company where it's processing in the cloud. The first one is that there is 0 cost. You're not paying for other people's server sites to be running. This is all running on hardware you already own. The other one is complete privacy. Your prompts are staying on your computer. They're not getting sent off again. So there's complete privacy with what you are creating. The third one, and this is the one that I love the most, is that you have complete control over your image. You get to choose which model you're using. You get to choose the definition, the size of the image. You can do other things like in-painting, out-painting, upscaling. There's so much control you can have over your final image that you do not have when you use other softwares like DALL-E. Now, number 4 is there's no queues that you have to sit in. So normally when you send out a request to generate an image, your prompt gets added to a queue and you have to wait in line, basically like at a grocery store, until there's free room on the processors in order to handle your request. Now with this, there's no waiting. The second you click generate, your computer spins up and starts working on your photo. Okay, let's actually get into the install. I'm gonna be walking through on my own computer, showing you exactly how to install this. 2 warnings. Number 1, you're gonna need probably 20 gigs of room free on your computer just to install the models. Also, you're gonna need to do a little bit of coding. If that scares you, it's gonna be fine. This coding is how I like to do it, which is copy and paste. So it really is not that scary. It's not that complicated. It looks crazy and complex. Sometimes you feel like you're kind of like hacking NASA or something, which you're not doing, but it kind of feels like it. So let's dive in. Number 1, we're gonna be using a program called Homebrew. So you're just gonna go onto their website, it says install Homebrew. You're gonna copy this link and you're gonna open up Terminal and you're literally just gonna paste this on in and hit enter. And just like that, it's going to install. You might have to enter your password. Okay, now with Homebrew installed, it's super easy to install Automatic 1111. You're gonna go here and you're gonna copy this brew install cmake blah 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 blah. And you're gonna copy this and just paste it on in and hit enter. And then let that do its thing. A lot of this video is copy, paste, let it do its thing, copy, paste, repeat the process. You get the idea. Okay, that step is done. If you've never used Terminal before, you know a command is done running when the name of your computer pops up at the bottom and you're able to type again. Back over and copy the next one. This is git clone. And what this is gonna do when you run it, it's gonna pull the repository down from GitHub and clone it on your computer and give you all the files that you need. So we're just gonna paste this in Terminal and hit enter and let it do its thing. So again, the model is the file that the AI is kind of pulling different images and words from. It's basically the training data that your AI is gonna be using in order to make your image. So, okay, now we have to download some models. So I really like the Stable Diffusion 1.5 model. You can kind of scroll down if you're on the GitHub page and just click on this link. It'll start downloading automatically. I already have it downloaded, so we will cancel that. There's Stable Diffusion 2.0 and 2.1. These are kind of worse than 1.5. And then Stable Diffusion 3.5 just came out, but I haven't really played with it that much. I also really like this Dream Shaper model. It has a bit more of a cartoony feel to it, but I think it looks really nice, so I like to use that one a lot. So once you download your models, you're gonna go into Locations, your Macintosh HD if you're on Mac, Users, find your name, and then there's this Stable Diffusion folder. Now, all things relating to Stable Diffusion are gonna be inside of this folder. It looks a little intimidating, I know, you'll be fine. You're gonna find models, and and then click on Stable Diffusion. You'll probably won't have as many folders as I do. That's okay. Click Stable Diffusion, and you're gonna put all the models that you downloaded into this folder. So finally, we get to the fun part. You're gonna come up here, number 5, you're gonna copy this cd stablediffusion.webui, and you're gonna paste it into terminal, hit enter, and then the last thing, you can copy this or do it yourself. You got this ./webui.sh, just like that, hit enter. You are now running Stable Diffusion on your laptop. It's gonna open up a Chrome tab, at least it does for me, and boom, we're in Stable Diffusion. If it doesn't open up a tab in terminal, you'll see this, it says running on local URL, and then it gives you the URL. Let me walk you through what you're looking at right here. So at the top, we'll start top, we'll go down. So at the top, we have our models. Right now, I'm just gonna use 1.5, perfect. You can select whatever model you want to use. I have 4 models installed, so that's all good. And then we get to the prompt. Let's just type in. So let's just type in a man standing on the moon holding a 35mm film camera. And then below it, we have the negative prompts. This is where you can tell the machine, do not include these items. So I'm gonna put ugly. I don't want this photo to be ugly. Oh, ugly, there you go. I know how to spell, I'm an adult. And then keep working down. There's a lot of settings, but I'm gonna walk you through the really important ones and maybe you can play with the other ones. There's the sampling method. Honestly, leave this where it is. You'll get different styles with different sampling methods, but I like this one the best. So then you get to sampling steps. This is essentially the definition, if you will. This is how many times the machine is running your image through and refining it. So if it only does it 20 times, you can imagine you're gonna get like an image that maybe isn't fully polished. It's a little fuzzy, there might be some weird stuff. That's where you get a lot of the morphing and weird, I guess, AI looking photos. The higher this goes, the more quality you're gonna have in your photo because it's going through the AI, getting processed down over and over and over again. But if you pump it to 150, you're not gonna get magically an amazing result. The results kind of peak at 60. So when I'm just trying out prompts, I'll normally stick in the 20 zone, and then when I'm ready for a final, I'll bump it up to 60. Other sliders to be aware of, this 512 by 512, that's in pixels, the size of your finalized photo. So these models are trained on photos that are 512 by 512, that's a square. And so if you make a 512 by 512 square, it just processes a lot faster. You can bump this up to 1080 by 1080 or whatever aspect ratio you want to do. Just keep in mind, it's going to make your processing time go up a little bit. The last knob that I really like is the batch size. I will bump this up to 4 when I'm working on stuff. And this just creates 4 different variations of the same photo, and you can kind of pick the one that's best what you were originally planning on. So with that, we're gonna hit generate, let this do its thing. I'm running this on a M3 MacBook Pro, and you'll see it's giving me about 1 minute and 30 seconds. Oh, a minute. So it goes pretty quick. Again, I don't really use this software every single day, so the processing time isn't that big of a deal for me. If I were using this every day, I'd probably want something a little bit quicker, but it's worth it for me to have something that's free, even though it takes about 1 minute to generate a handful of photos. So we're gonna let this finish on up. Okay, just like that, give yourself a pat on the back. You have now made your own AI images running locally on your machine completely for free. Congratulations. You can click on it, view some bigger versions, and these are interesting. So we need some better prompts. I like this website, it's called Prompt Hero. People submit photos they've made using different AI softwares, and they actually give you the exact prompts they used to make them. So I found this image of an apple, I think it's kind of pretty, and I'm gonna copy over the positive, and I'm gonna copy the negative prompt. And again, just studying these prompts is a really good way to learn a little bit of the prompt engineering yourself. Like looking in the person's negative prompt, they have sketchy, cartoon, drawing, mutilated hands, ugly, amputation, floating limbs, missing limbs, extra limbs, wrong anatomy. So just reading through those, you can kind of see how we're telling the AI, hey, don't use these things. We don't want a mutilated person. And then reading through the positive prompt, studio photo, high detailed, sharp focus, photorealism, 8K, best quality. These aren't specific to the photo. These are just words that they're using to describe and tell the machine, hey, we want something that looks good, that looks 8K, photorealistic, best quality, all of this stuff. And when we use those words, it's pulling in data that's gonna make our image higher quality. So with these in place, I'm gonna hit generate and we're gonna cross our fingers that we get something that looks good. So as this is generating, if you're pumped about this, if this video has provided you value and helped kickstart this project for you, give this video a like. Also, there's a software out there that's a replacement for ChatGPT. It does a lot of text stuff, so let me know if you want to see that video in the future, but let's see how our images are doing here. Also, if you go into your main Stable Diffusion folder, the one where we put the model files, in here you'll find a folder called Outputs. And here you're gonna find all of the images you've ever created using Stable Diffusion. So you'll see this text to image grids, and then click on today's date. And just like that, you'll see the grids that we've created. And then if we go back a little bit, text to text, or text to image, images, today's date. And then here are the 4 images that we created. So everything's saved, so if something crashes or you don't save it in time, you can download the files. You can download the files right here, but if you forget to do it, you know where to find them. Okay, let's talk for a second how these AI image tools actually work. So first, these models that we downloaded, they're trained on thousands of images across all of the interwebs, and basically someone actually went through and identified this is a tree, and they put the little text tree underneath. And so the AI is trained, there's basically little dials or parameters, if you will. There's billions of them in these models, and these little knobs are trained based on this information. So as it sees a tree, it understands what the tree is and it starts to learn. You probably already understood that. When you type a prompt into Stable Diffusion, the image it starts with is actually just called noise. Your seed, or basically just the bunch of numbers, is this pattern for random noise. And then what the machine is doing is it's taking this pattern of noise and it's refining it down into the image, gradually refining this noise into an image that matches your description. It's removing the noise bit by bit. So when you type in tree, so it starts removing the noise by creating an image of what it knows to be a tree. And it pumps that image back into itself, removes a little bit more noise, pumps it back into itself, removes some more noise, and so on and so forth. This process is called diffusion, which is why our software is called Stable Diffusion, because we're taking out noise and then we're left with the image that we wanted to create. So don't worry if it seems complex. You don't have to understand all of the intricacies and all of the math behind it, but understanding just at least a base level knowledge will help you make better prompts. All right, there you go. That's my complete guide on how to get rid of paying for AI tools, start using some free tools,